La experiencia de montar Greach pues es sobre todo estresante porque hay que hacer muchas cosas, sobre todo si empiezas el evento habiendo dormido 4 horas después de la cena de speakers con un aguardiente de 73 grados, pues es bastante duro, pero la verdad es que merece la pena ver a la gente que se lo está pasando bien, que los speakers te dicen que están disfrutando y en general pues feliz de la vida. Me podéis ver próximamente en la GR8 en Copenhague en junio.
So for my family, when I go from one conference to another conference, it's not always very easy. So I'm married, I have 2 children, 2 daughters, aged 1 and 6. Actually, the tallest one is somewhat happy when I go away because sometimes I bring back some little surprises, so she likes that. But of course she misses me when I'm away, so it's not always easy also for my wife to take care alone of the kids when I'm away at conferences. So my average day, I actually work from home, so which is a nice advantage, I would say. So my average day starts, shower, breakfast and so on. I take care of my kids because I have the time, because I work from home. I bring them to school and so on. And then when I'm back home, I read my emails, start to answer, doing some user support and that kind of things. And then with my colleagues, we chat on Skype about the current implementation of this or that feature. And well, that's basically it. We work collaboratively from home, the whole team. My next destination this time is not going to be very far from home because the next conferences I'm going to attend will be in France. So that's nice this time not to have to travel and spend too much time in planes and transportations and taxis and so on. So it'll be the Devox France conference, which takes place in Paris, and I live nearby Paris. So that's cool. In the Groovy and Grails communities, we have some French-sounding names. So Guillaume Laforge, myself, I'm French. My colleague Cédric Champeau is also French and is living in France as well, like me. And we also have Graham Rocher, who leads the Grail project, but is not French at all. But the name looks like it is actually a French word. I would say it means rocks in French, but it is not French. So it's not because it's a French developed project, but it just happens that I have colleagues, and some are French and some have French sounding names. That's my second Greach conference, so I missed the one in between. So I think that we had 3 Greach conferences. So I was there for the first one, and I'm there for the third one, and I thoroughly enjoyed both of them. So, well, the second one, it's just the start of the conference, but I can already say that I'm enjoying it. And for example, the speaker dinner yesterday was really awesome, very fun. Great food, great company, and I would really highly recommend anyone in Spain or elsewhere to come to the conference because there's a great lineup of speakers, the content is great, the organization is great as well, so everything is pretty smooth, and I hope you'll come to the next edition if you haven't come.
So my family doesn't complain too much about me traveling because it's not that often. In general, it's more a few days, so it's okay to go for example, a weekend. But yes, this year, especially for Greach, my oldest son complained a bit because he's not 9 years old, and he starts to miss me. But the younger one doesn't complain at all because basically he doesn't understand how long I will be away. So yeah, my normal day is starting Yeah, I would say it's just starting with driving the kids to school, and then it's a full day of programming Groovy and doing bug fixes, doing new features, etc., chatting, answering questions from people for support. So I spend really a lot of time doing Groovy focused work. And yes, so I'm a home worker, so it's much easier for me. And I just stop for eating, and that's all. My next conference, I think, is in Paris. So this is in April or June, I don't remember. But I will have more conferences coming in Paris and Copenhagen for GreatConf, and another one which is just closer to my house, which is in Nantes. So twice in France, so it's much easier for me. I was at Greach last year, so I wasn't the first edition of the conference, Greach, but so I was there last year, and what I think is really nice with this conference is that it's quite cheap for a technical conference like that, so it's very interesting for people to attend that, because the speakers are the same as bigger conferences, and you have them really available at hand, and you can chat with them very easily. So very good conference for that.
So if I had to change anything in Grails, I think it would be the close link between Grails and the servlet API, and the fact that currently with Grails you have to run Grails on top of a servlet container such as Tomcat. It would be much more flexible if you could execute Grails in any server environment. So the differences between the Spanish community and the community I worked with in London, in England, I guess, in both communities you find excited people with vibe and so on. I guess in London, because there's a lot of the new technologies emerge from London or the US. There tends to be a little bit faster adoption rate, so new technologies are adopted quicker. Due to the documentation being in English initially and just it being easier to adopt. Whilst in Spain things tend to come a little bit slower after the documentation gets translated and the communities get more engaged with the technologies. My experience at Greach is great. It's always an exciting vibe, a lot of interested people, and Madrid is a fantastic city to come to. So yeah, I really recommend it to anybody. Madrid is a great place, and the Greach conference is excellent.
Vale, ¿qué es un workshop? ¿O por qué he hecho un workshop? Bueno, la razón principal era que la materia sobre la que iba a impartir el workshop es algo que ha estado en el mundo Groovy durante hace muchos años, pero casi nadie la conoce. Entonces, mucha gente antes de hacer el workshop me preguntaba, es que yo no sé, nunca lo he utilizado, no sé si ir porque no sé si voy a estar a la altura, y yo les estaba explicando, no, precisamente un workshop es eso, es el lugar donde alguien que sabe te enseña cómo usar esa librería, esa biblioteca, lo que sea, pero un workshop tiene que ser eso, un lugar donde aprendes a utilizar una librería, nada más.
No es mi primera vez que vengo a Greach, es el tercer año y es la tercera vez que vengo. El primer año estuve como asistente, el año pasado di ya una charla en español y este año he dado charla en inglés y además he estado ayudando, soy también coorganizador con Alberto, ya vengo aquí con el full equipo. Pues de las charlas que he visto, la que más me ha gustado ha sido también la de Bar Beckwith, ha sido muy buena, con mucho sentido del humor y ha contado eso, los típicas malas prácticas, pero con otra perspectiva. Siempre lo contamos como esto es lo que tenéis que hacer y él ha dicho como no deberíais hacer esto, deberíais hacerlo así, ¿no? Todo justo lo contrario, ha sido muy buena. Y también la anterior de microservices también me ha gustado muchísimo.
Esta es la segunda vez que vengo a Greach. La vez pasada vine de oyente, porque era un poco mi primera vez, pero bueno, esta vez ya me animé a presentar charla y muy bien, muy contento. ¿Con qué charla me quedo? Hombre, me gustó muchísimo la de Bart, porque creo que ver todo desde un punto de vista no solo de la última tecnología, que es lo súper interesante, mira el código, sino desde con muchísimo humor, con muchísimo sarcasmo, como ha expuesto las malas prácticas, ha estado realmente bien. Yo creo que ha sido como una especie de respiro, ¿sabes?, en una mañana, tarde de caña, de técnica, y ha estado genial. Sí, mi charla iba sobre las buenas prácticas, porque realmente mi experiencia se reduce a 2 años en Greach, pero sí que tengo el suficiente background técnico como para ver que el último framework, la última tecnología, significa muchas veces repetir viejos problemas, ¿no? Entonces he intentado mostrar cómo esos viejos problemas se pueden seguir manteniendo por muy nueva que sea tecnología, y como con viejas recetas, y que siempre ha estado ahí, podemos llegar a construir un código muchísimo más limpio y muchísimo mejor, mantenible, escalable, etc.
No, actually, it's not my first time in Greach in Spain. I've done the previous edition, and I enjoyed it so much that, you know, when Alberto asked me to come back, I said, oh yes, of course, I will be back. I've talked about a Greach plugin I'm writing with my friends, the Three Musketeers. It's mobile Greach plugin, actually. We've been working on an AeroGear plugin. I'm part of the AeroGear open source project, actually, which is a Red Hat GBoss framework. So we've been talking about that and how to integrate it with Greach. It's true that most of the projects have been working. I'm very often the only woman in the team, so I'm kind of used to this situation. I'm working with the Duchess France, which is a movement to help to promote women in IT, and I think this is something you should do very early, and we do work in school and all those kind of things, because this difference appear very, very early. When I went to engineering school, we were only 10% women, and then the more experience you get, the less women there is. And if you go in the technical path, like architecture and all that, you have this number which go down. I think it could go below the 5%. So that's something to work on, to improve. Maybe it's because I grew older and with more experience, and as I say, I stick in the technical path. But now around me, I see less and less women, very technical, and especially in the open source project. But I think that's something we should, carry on working on. There is a lot of things to do on that subject.
Not at all. I was there last year, and I enjoyed it so much that I decided to apply again. That's a really nice atmosphere here, and I really enjoy Greach conference. So today I spoke about mobile and Kudo.js Spring Framework, and tomorrow I will speak about how to secure your Groovy script.
So today I spoke about the Gwil's plugins that we made with the Three Musketeers. So I talked with Fabrice and Corinne. So basically how you can scaffold your mobile app using some really cool libraries like Kujo or AeroGear, and also how you can integrate push notification in your apps with Gwils. That was today. And tomorrow I will give the talk with Corinne about how you can make a clone of WhatsApp. So basically, we will reuse some stuff that we showed today, scaffolding, accessing your contacts on your phone, and sending push messages from one device to another. I think even in Spain, the community, the Groovy girls community is more active than in France. In France, there are 2 Groovy user groups, one that we created with Corinne and Fabrice in the south of France, and one in Paris that is a bit dead. I'm afraid there are not so much talks the last day. So yeah, when I see all the people here, we don't have Groovy Girls conference in France, and you get one, so that's already a difference, I think. That shows the strength of the community in Spain.
Ooh, hard questions here. How to decide whether to propose anything after Invoke Dynamic has been made? I don't know. What's the question? what after invoke dynamic should the Java virtual machine... Do you know, I don't know. I think it's a really open question because we don't know what the effect of invoke dynamic is going to be on Groovy as yet. Because until we've got Groovy 2.3 really properly working and out there, we're not really sure whether the invoke dynamic support that we're putting in is being effective. And I think we really ought to find that out before proposing new things. Why have I chosen Groovy? Well, it sort of chose me. We've been doing some embedded work with a company, startup, that failed. And well, it was a rather difficult company failure. And so I took just some time out from doing anything at all and started playing with Groovy simply because it was there. And then a publishing company came and asked me to do some due diligence on Groovy, so I got deeply involved in it to give them a report. And in doing so, got chatting over email and things like that with Guillaume, and got more and more involved with the resurgent Groovy in, I guess, about 2004, 2005. So in that sense, it chose me, and I've been playing with it ever since. So what am I doing as a day-to-day thing? Well, sort of get up and decide what to do, really. The advantage of being self-employed is that you don't have to be at work for 8 o'clock or whenever. So the biggest decision of the day is what CD to put onto the playing device, and then how loud to play it. Depends on whether the neighbours are in, I suppose. But realistically, I tend to work 16 hours a day, in and out, simply because I can't keep control of myself. Working at home, it's just easy. When I'm working on a client site, of course, it's travel to the client site. If I'm working for a bank, it's wear a suit, which is hard. But that's the only time I'm sort of working a 9 to 5 day when I'm consulting or training. The rest of the time, it's whenever I want, and it's great fun. Fun, a good message.
Hola, soy Laura Lacarra, soy de Zaragoza y ahora estoy en Madrid trabajando, desarrollo software y me defino de Java. Hombre, he venido pues porque, no sé, la verdad es que me interesa la tecnología, he trasteado un poco, pero vamos, veo bastante similitud, por mucho que me tiran piedras con Java, entonces que se pueden hacer cosillas muy interesantes con lo que aporta. Cachirulo Valley es una organización que está en Aragón, Zaragoza, y que está formada por un montón de gente, no tiene que ser de Zaragoza, pero que es un colectivo de gente inquieta pues, por la tecnología, porque surjan, por fomentar el ecosistema empresarial de Zaragoza y que se fomenten pues que la gente emprenda, que cree sus propias empresas y nada, está hecho con mucho cariño y con mucho amor. Se hacen actividades como las Cachirulo Talks, en el cual pues viene un invitado a hablarnos de cómo han montado su negocio, qué han hecho para salir adelante, etc. Y luego pues están las idas de pinza como montar un evento para 100 personas. Montamos lo de Startup Open Space con Cachirulo Valley, que eso me moló mucho. Y bueno, pues Betavis Zaragoza es una reunión mensual y ahí se intenta tener presencia y ayudar en lo que se puede, claro.
Pues soy Dani Latorre, miembro de Agile Aragón, me dedico a desarrollo web. Agile Aragón es un grupo local de la asociación Agile Spain y bueno, básicamente intentamos promover un poco las metodologías ágiles dentro de la Comunidad Autónoma de Aragón y pues haciendo actividades de club de lectura, charlas en la universidad para gente que quiera empezar a aprender y atraer gente un poco a la comunidad. Una reunión mensual es lo mínimo que se hace y luego pues también se organizan catayunos para practicar programación y cositas así y nos vamos juntando. Me gustan Java y Groovy, pero también me gusta mucho programar con Ruby, sí, aunque sea una cosa que no se puede decir mucho en público, que te gustan esos lenguajes. Pues me ha gustado la diván de Metaprogramming with Groovy, que ya, aun conociendo mucho, bueno, parte del tema que trataba, la verdad que me ha venido bien como repaso general. Me ha gustado, aparte que me ha gustado mucho como lo ha presentado. Pues próximamente quiero ir a un evento sobre experiencia de usuario en el UX Spain en Granada.